Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Beach Boys album ranking video. Today we're up to number 17 out of 30. And last video we checked out Little Deuce Coupe from 1963. Today we're jumping forward 1 year to an album that is completely unique within the discography. It's a very singular album, a very thematically unique album, and just one that just stands out in a very good way in their discography. And this one was very hard for me to rank, so that's kind of why it's in the middle, because, you know, to me it's a perfect album, but it's kind of hard to put it high up there because it's just so different. And without any further ado, that one is from November 9th, 1964, Beach Boys Christmas album. This is one of their most classic records easily. It's one of the most cherished by the fans, by people in general. It's a very well-known record, a classic. Right here I have the stereo from 64, and this one actually, this particular record, the stereo version of this album, is actually true stereo and not shitty duophonic like most of their other previous albums before this had, which is very interesting. But I'll just get started with, you know, the design. Album cover is absolutely classic. Love the guys on it. They all look really cool. Christmas tree looks very weird. Looks very plain, but I don't know. I like the green. I like the text. The back, you have the iconic pictures of the dudes with the signatures. This one has like coffee stains on it. Someone signed this copy. I don't know. Love the design. It's a very classic looking album cover, and to a very classic album. A classic album cover for a classic album. And basically the story with this one starts back in 1963. So in late 1963, the Beach Boys put out a single, their first Christmas single, and pretty much one of the only Christmas singles they would ever put out. You know, I think they put out 2 more in their history. But that single was Little Saint Nick, and that went to number 6 on the chart, number 9. It did something. I think this album went to number 6 on the charts, but the single in 63, just the standalone Little Saint Nick, that went to number 9, I think. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But that one was just a instant classic. You guys probably all know that song because it's just one of the most iconic Christmas songs ever released. It's the Beach Boys' biggest Christmas song, obviously. And it's really just a classic song based on, you know, Santa and his sleigh just being really cool, you know. It's based off the melody of Little Deuce Coupe, kind of like the style and songwriting of Little Deuce Coupe is applied to Little Saint Nick. So it's a very similar song stylistically, but they ramp it up to a different level because they add the thematic elements of Christmas. It's about Santa being buff in his, you know, turbo-powered sleigh, you know, delivering presents. Very fucking awesome. And this album's full of just awesome shit, you know. I'll get into why it's probably the greatest Christmas album ever released, if not one of the greatest. But for now, let's keep talking about the backstory. So anyway, Little Saint Nick comes out late 63, does really well, is an instant classic, great song. And the next year, 1964, it was late 64, that year the Beach Boys already had out 2 albums, 2 studio albums and a live album. So they had Shut Down Volume 2, they had Beach Boys Concert. Well, they had Shut Down Volume 2 all summer long, and then Beach Boys Concert. And at the end of the year, Capitol's like, alright, you guys need another album out. How about a holiday album, a Christmas album? So in the middle of the year, around June, July, they got in the studio after all summer long and started recording this record. And what came out was an absolute classic, a masterpiece Christmas album. And as I said, this is a masterpiece, 100%, but it's hard for me to put it into the discography. It's hard for me to rank it within the discography because it is a Christmas album. And it separates it from everything else they ever did because they never made another Christmas album. They had a planned Christmas album in 1977 that was supposed to follow up Beach Boys' Love You. And never came out. It got shelved by the record company, or they rejected it or whatever. Something happened with that one. That's another story for another day. But basically, not coming out means that this is the only Christmas album the Beach Boys ever made, and that makes it very special. So, this album consists of basically half originals and half classic covers. So, what you get is 5 Brian Wilson originals on the first side, and then on the last song on side 1, and then basically all of side 2 is covers of classic Christmas songs. And it's a very cool dynamic, a very balanced dynamic. Brian produces and arranges his originals, and then Dick Reynolds, which was he was the 4 Freshmen's producer, and well, not producer, maybe he was the arranger for the 4 Freshmen. He arranged the covers, so it's kind of split, but you can't really notice it. And this album has a lot of firsts for the band. I've said that in other reviews. You know, a lot of these albums have a lot of firsts for the band, but this one specifically because it is a Christmas album. So Anyway, 1963, Little Saint Nick is released. Does really well, instant classic, and it opens off this record. So, the single version, which was backed by The Lord's Prayer, I think it was The Lord's Prayer, yeah. Anyway, that one had sleigh bells on it, the original version of Little Saint Nick, and that's, in my opinion, the definitive version, but the album version we got on here opening up the record does not have sleigh bells, which is very interesting. It's a very raw approach to the song, but despite that, it is still a fucking classic, one of the greatest Christmas songs ever released, so iconic. Again, this was one of the Beach Boys songs that, before I was a Beach Boys fan, I knew the song, because who doesn't know the song? It's a classic. Christmas time, you hear it everywhere. And for the whole album, for me, when it's Christmas time, you know, like last Christmas, I could say especially, I listened to this album probably 20 times just because it's just embodies the vibe of Christmas so well, and it gets you in such a good mood. There's nothing wrong with it, and everything just flows so greatly. The atmosphere, the theme, the vibe of it, the songwriting, the harmonies, and Little Saint Nick is the culmination of all those put into one great song. And it takes, you know, what the Beach Boys were known for, you know, their fun hot rod sound at the time, you know, in 64, it was kind of, you know, or 63, because that's when the song came out. So, you know, at the time when the song came out, it was kind of what they were known for, but they just applied Christmas to it, and it worked perfectly. Not as good without the sleigh bells on the album version, but it's still a fucking classic, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So it's a great opening of the album, absolutely phenomenal song, and it just gets you in a good mood. Leads into The Man with All the Toys, which was a single, actually, and this one was backed with something, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Don't quote me on that, I don't exactly remember what the B-side to The Man with All the Toys was. But anyway, they put it out as a single in 64. I don't know how well it charted, I don't think it charted very well, but I know it did chart a little bit. But this one's fucking awesome. It's super short. It's only a minute and a half long. And you can actually, what I like is that on the back sleeve, you can actually see the length of each song, which is cool, which helps me. And it's really, really short, but it's awesome. It's so catchy, and I love the unique sound of it. You know, you have Mike on the verses, and then Brian comes on his falsetto, kind of for the choruses. And it's really magical. I can't really describe how exactly it sounds, but it sounds just beautiful and really catchy, really short, really sweet. And just last year, actually, because, you know, the Beach Boys, whoever runs the Beach Boys accounts are doing fucking great with the promotion. But anyway, they put out a music lyric video for this song, with animated, whatever. Really awesome, check it out. Love this song, really short, so it won't take up too much of your time. I bet you'll love it, it's a great Christmas song. And easily one of my favorites on the record, along with Little Saint Nick for sure. Next, Santa's Beard. Okay, so this one's cool. So this one actually kind of has a story behind it. And, well, Man with All the Toys, I'll kind of go through song. So actually, before I get to Santa's Beard, I'll kind of go through each song that I already did. Little Saint Nick, as I said, Buff Santa working on his sleigh, delivering presents. Man with All the Toys, Santa, you know, that's basically what it's about, just Santa delivering toys, Christmas. Santa's Beard is really interesting because this one is it's a very interestingly written song, but the weirdest part about it is the lyrics. It is a story about one of the Beach Boys, I'm gonna assume it's Mike because he's the one who does the lead, takes his little brother into a mall and sees a mall Santa, and his little brother thinks that it's real, so he goes up to him, but then Mike or something, or the little brother, he's like, is this guy real? So he pulls a pillow out of his shirt and he pulls the beard and mustache off of his face, and Mike's little brother is sad and he's crying because he's not the real Santa, and it ruins that. And I don't think Mike even had a little brother, but it's very fucking interesting. It's a very interesting theme to a song, but the songwriting is really awesome. It's catchy. The chorus is really cool. The chords that they use. Mike's vocal is great. I love Mike's vocal on this song. And it leads into Merry Christmas Baby, another original. The first 5 songs are all originals on this album, so first 3 were great. Merry Christmas Baby is another great song. Love Hal Blaine's drums on this. This album was completely the Wrecking Crew on most of the songs, and then for the arrangements on the covers, it was Dick Reynolds using his own session musicians, I'm pretty sure. But for the originals, it was the Wrecking Crew. So Hal Blaine on the drums for Merry Christmas Baby. And love this one. This one doesn't really experiment all too much, but it doesn't have to because it's so catchy, and it's just a very, very lighthearted, just kind, happy, warm song that embodies the vibe of the album. I've said that already, but this album is really just a warm, kind, just joyful album that embodies Christmas. And I'm gonna say this a few times throughout this video because it's just true, but it's a perfect Christmas album. I'll go through every song, even on side 2, and just tell you why it's perfect. But that being said, I really can't put it that high in their album ranking list because it's a Christmas album, so it kind of places it into a certain niche, and it doesn't live up to it doesn't have normal songs on it. They're all Christmas songs. So that being said, yes, number 17 is, a lot of people will disagree with me, think it's too low, but it's really high for a Christmas album, and it's a perfect Christmas album. So let me get that out of the way. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Baby, great song. Love the drums, love the vibe of it. Leads into Christmas Day, another really short song, 1.5 minutes long. This was actually the first ever lead vocal done by Al Jardine. You know, he joined the band back in early '64 once David Marks left, and he didn't have a lead vocal that whole year until this album when he did Christmas Day, and I love this one. For some reason, I always thought Denny did the lead on it. I always thought it was Dennis doing the lead on this song until I actually looked it up. Or I think I saw an interview with Al, with some guy, I think it was like a very recent interview, where he was saying, oh yeah, that was my first lead. I was like, really? So I listened, I'm like, oh, that is Al. So, great song. Love Al's vocal. It's very soft. Very opposite of what his vocals would become. You know, he's known for having, you know, that kind of the slight grittiness to his voice, and then later on just having, you know, super clean belting high voice that matches Brian's. And so it's interesting to hear his softer voice on Christmas Day. Last song on side 1 is Frosty the Snowman. I don't even have to explain this. It's a Christmas classic. Every single person watching this video knows that song. But all I can add to it is that the Beach Boys, the band's take on it is great. I love their take on it. The harmonies on this album are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And they really just do a great job at the song. Lots of high energy. This one it's funny because it kind of has like weird circus noises in it, but it keeps the energy up. Probably the most energetic song of the album, honestly. The fastest for sure. And love Brian's vocal. I'll get to some other songs where his vocal is beautiful, but Brian's vocals on this record are beautiful. His falsetto, you know, his hi-hat voice, falsetto voice, amazing. So that ends off side 1. Absolutely fucking awesome. 5 Brian Wilson originals and then a cover, and it's already a classic just for the first 6 songs. And no song besides Merry Christmas Baby on side 1, no song on side 1 is over 2 minutes. So they're really short. This is a very short album. It's like 27 minutes long, and that's as long as it should be, in my opinion. Just a very short and sweet and simple album that embodies Christmas. Side 2 opens up with probably maybe my favorite, maybe not my favorite, but the most interesting song on the record for sure. We Three Kings of Orion are. You can hear it in the background a little bit. It's kind of quiet, but okay, that's the horns. But the harmonies on this track are so fucking beautiful. I actually didn't know the original. I'm pretty sure this is like just a traditional Christmas song that is mostly just a kind of a choir, churchy song. I'm not sure if it is, but the first time I heard it was on this record, and when I listened to this record for the first time, this was the first time I heard that song, and it's beautiful. It's haunting. It's absolutely haunting. The harmonies are perfect. Beautiful. I did the same exact shit last video where I stopped to listen to the harmonies, and I'm sorry, because I don't know, I kind of have to stop and listen and be like, damn, the Beach Boys are so fucking good at doing vocals. But anyway, We Three Kings of Orion are great fucking track, super haunting, mysterious, slow and kind of droning. It's just a very eerie atmosphere, and I love it. And it kind of resolves itself at the end into like a major key a little bit. Very nice. Next, definitely my favorite song in the album. Okay, We Three Kings is one of my favorites, but my favorite song in the entire record, easily Blue Christmas. This is another classic Christmas song, but Brian has a completely solo lead on this one, and in my opinion is one of his best leads he ever did. Fucking gorgeous, so beautiful, so clean, honest. It's a very honest delivery. There's nothing phony about it. You know, you kind of listen to Santa's Beard or Frosty the Snowman, or no, I'll get to another song where Mike sings on the second side, but you know, some of Mike's vocals in this album kind of feel not phony, but like kind of phoned in just for Christmas, and it works really well because I think it works, but you can kind of tell that, you know, he's trying to do his Christmas voice, you know. But for Brian on Blue Christmas, it's absolutely beautiful. Just a gorgeous, smooth vocal delivery, and it's just a very, very dreamy song. Very dreamy song. It's playing in the background right now. I'm not gonna just be silent to let you listen to it, but I'll let you listen to the first couple lines of his vocals because amazing. And Brian actually did an interview after this record came out, and a guy said, the interview guy was like, your vocal on Blue Christmas was very different. Are you going to do a solo project where you sing like this? And he's like, I don't know. And he never did, but, well, he did, 25 years later, but at the time he never did. But it could have been a different direction if he took this solo route, if he just did his solo lead vocal thing. But anyway, Blue Christmas, fucking phenomenal masterpiece of a song. Yes, they didn't write it, but they reworked it into a better version, in my opinion. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. This is where I had my Mike's vocal complaint. Again, another classic. And Phil Spector on his Christmas album did this the year prior, which is actually Brian's favorite album of all time. A Christmas Gift for You by Phil Spector is Brian's favorite album, which is very interesting. And he was greatly inspired by that album. And he loved the song, the version of Santa Claus is Coming to Town they did on that one. So he did it, and this one's great. Love Brian's vocal, and then Mike comes in on the, he sees you when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, and I don't like his vocal delivery. It's very nasally. It works, but it is kind of cheesy. So if I were to have any complaints with this album, it's that one part that I'm not a fan of, but it's so short, and everybody knows the part anyway, so they're going to sing over it and not even really hear him anyway, so it's a classic anyway, so I can't really say much more about it. White Christmas, again, Bing Crosby classic. Again, they just put their own style on it. Brian's voice is beautiful. The harmonies are beautiful, and it's just a great rendition. Is it better than the original? I don't know, but it's up to the same level for sure. I'll Be Home for Christmas. This one is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Again, another Brian lead, and it's just so beautiful and slow and mesmerizing, and just I'm saying the same thing about all these songs, and I'm sorry for not going into deeper detail, but, while I do these reviews, it's hard for me to think of every single part, and what does come to my mind, though, is that all of these songs embody Christmas in the best way possible, and I'll Be Home for Christmas is probably the best embodiment of that thing I'm talking about, It's just, you can't really do it right now because it's already February, but listen to this album in, October, November, December, listen to it during those holiday months, and just, while you're decorating your tree, or you're, driving the car, seeing Christmas lights, or just in your room or something, just put it on, and just, it'll get you in that Christmas spirit. And it's I know, it's weird talking about it right now, because it's February, Christmas already happened, I already listened to this album a bunch at Christmas, but this album is so good that it does not date it to just holiday Christmas time. It's so good that you can listen to it throughout the whole year, in my opinion, and the songs are done so well to the point where you won't even notice that it's just a Christmas album. You just think it's really good. You know the songs are Christmas songs, but you'll be like, wow, this is great. They did a great job on all these songs. And I'll Be Home for Christmas, no different. Ends off with a very, very endearing song, very short, Auld Lang Syne. This is just an a cappella track, traditional a cappella that has been around for hundreds of years, I think, or 100 years at least. But this one, it just seems like, your normal a cappella outro. They kind of had the same thing. Well, they would have the same thing going on Summer Days, Summer Nights with And Your Dreams Come True. But on this album, they have Auld Lang Syne, Auld Lang Syne, and you think it's just a cappella, but then Dennis comes in, and he does basically like a monologue thing where he talks to the fans, talks directly to us listening, saying, thank you for listening, we put a lot of effort to it, we hope you like this album as much as we like making it. And, it's kind of funny because he stumbles on his words a little bit when he said, if you happen to be listening to this album, whatever, he said he stumbles on happening, and it's kind of funny because they didn't do another take, so they kept it in there, so you hear him mess up a sentence and kind of like lose his spot in the sentence, so it's kind of funny, but it's still super endearing, super genuine, a great final message coming out of the album. And with that wraps the album up. And every song on here is just a classic, Christmas classic, whether it be one of Brian's originals or the covers. But highlights for sure, Little Saint Nick, Man with All the Toys, Santa's Beard. Well, Santa's Beard's cool, but Christmas Day, We Three Kings of Orient are Blue Christmas, White Christmas. Whole album, dude. I was literally just about to list every song. I'm sorry, I'm going so fast on this review, but I just really love this album, and I have a lot of good things to say about it. So it's kind of hard for me to like keep on track, but no, really, honestly, my overall thoughts on this one is that it is a absolutely perfect Christmas record. It is a simple album because it is a Christmas record, and it's the same theme throughout the whole album, but it's good that it is because it keeps it consistent, keeps it flowing well, keeps it with a similar, well, the same vibe throughout the whole album, which keeps it feeling Christmassy. The harmonies that the boys do are fucking beautiful. All of the leads from all the guys are amazing. Carl, you can't really hear Carl too much because he never got a lead on this album, but it's really alright. But the arrangements done by Dick Reynolds and Brian are beautiful. The production is great. Again, as I said, I have the stereo, but there's also the mono, and I think they both sound great. I don't know which one I prefer. The stereo is more full, but the mono is more true to Brian's vision. And this album just in general is just a classic, you know. It did go to number 6 when it initially was released, but in subsequent Christmas time, or every Christmas time in the coming years after this album came out, it just continued to sell a lot because it was just a classic be listened to all the time. A lot of people love this record. And it has so many classics on it. It's such an endearing Christmas record. And like, as I said earlier, is it the greatest Christmas album of all time? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I haven't heard every Christmas album. I know Phil Spector's Christmas album is in very close competition. And that one has a lot more variety because of the different artists he used. But this one is just so perfect from front to back. And there's nothing I dislike on here. And everything is just beautiful, crafted perfectly, sang perfectly, and embodies Christmas in the most perfect way possible. And with that, this record is a 10 out of 10. Absolute masterpiece of a Christmas album. And if you're wondering, if this record is a 10 out of 10 and the albums following it in the ranking are going to be lower than 10, then why is this one not higher? And that is simply because it is a Christmas album. It is a holiday album. It is a niche record in its own subcategory of main theme, and that kind of restricts it to just only being able to listen to it for a couple of months, but as I said, it's good enough to listen throughout the whole year. So the reason I put this one above Little Deuce Coupe and all the other albums I did already is because it's perfect. And Little Deuce Coupe I think is almost perfect, but you know, that one does have some issues. You know, that one does have 4 reused songs for the first part, and the albums that came before, you know, Shut Down and Party and Surfing USA and all the other ones I did before that, you know, I love all of those, and I listen to them more than this record, admittedly, but they do have their quirks about them, and they do have some flaws, even if they're minor. This one is truly the first album where it's perfect, and I don't have anything wrong with it. Little Deuce Coupe, as I said in the last review, I didn't have really anything wrong with that one, but if you're looking for flaws, you can find them. This one, you can't find them, and for me, the reason why this one's above of the ones I did, and below the ones I haven't done, is because it's an important record that's flawless, but it's also a Christmas album. So the ones that I will review after this are way more important, but they may not be all 10 out of 10s, all 9 out of 10s easily, but they're more important because they're thematically normal. This is a Christmas record, and it dates it to Christmas. So I kind of been rambling about this one for a while. So I'm just going to end off the review early. You know, I usually try to go for 30 minutes, but I said everything I have to say about it. It's a perfect Christmas record. And just let me know what you guys think about this one. It's a classic, a holiday classic. And I'm sorry for talking way too fucking fast, because I do that. I get into the groove of it. Talk too fast. Again, Beach Boys Christmas album, November 9th, 1964. Classic, 10 out of 10 record. Number 17 out of 30. And I will see you guys in the next review. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Peace out.